Marianne Williamson said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. No. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous, when actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. Could it be true? Are you afraid of the power within? Are you afraid to take the next step toward your freedom? Are you afraid of what lies ahead? Is it the unknown? Is it the journey? Just take one more step. One more step toward your freedom. One step towards the new you. You are powerful. You are beautiful. You are free.
Welcome to another week with Jackie Denise, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have so much to talk about. I have so much exciting news for you, and it's a beautiful day. We're out here in the woods just enjoying nature, the freedom of God's glory, and I wanted to take a few minutes to just talk to you about breaking bondage this week, freeing yourself to be who you are called to be. And there's so much in store for you, so just stay tuned with me for just a few moments. Okay, so as Marianne Williamson pointed out, we often struggle with that F word. Yes, fear. Fear of who we could really be. And that's what kind of led me to today's discussion. What if you could truly know what it would be like to be free from the guilt and free from the shame and free from the heaviness? What would your life look like if you no longer had to carry that burden anymore? If you could be light every day, wake up happy every day, what would that look like for you? How would you spend your days? What will you do with your time? It's just so much waiting for you. There's so much in store for you, and I want to help you get there. Ever since I have come to find this new freedom and this new way of life and living, breathing just is easier. Breathing is more enjoyable. Although we don't put much thought into it, everything matters once you realize how free you really are. And it's amazing. It's amazing. So I want you to be with me. I want you to join me. I want you to be like I am. I want you to feel what I feel. I want you to just know what I know. Okay? So I'm going to put it to you this way, and it was just really absolutely profound. I am God's child. I mean, you are also. Okay? And the devil works double, triple time to make sure you and I don't remember that. Pastor Monty preached a sermon, and his words were so profound. And he told the story of the prodigal son. And I'm going to share a little bit of that story with you just to kind of recap for those of you who may not be familiar with the story. In the story, there was a father who was very, very wealthy, and he had two sons. And one, actually the younger of the two sons, told the father, I want all that belongs to me, and I'm going to take my money, my inheritance, and I'm going to leave. And he did. And he left his father's home, which they were very, very rich and had servants and they had animals and just everything, right? He goes out into the world on his own. He's going to enjoy his newfound freedom. And he found himself in a land where they were going through a famine. And in this land, it was absolutely horrible. He had gone through all of his riches, all of his money, all of his wealth. He had squandered everything. And he came to find himself starving, looking for a place to lay his head. He found himself in a hog pen, and he lay with the hogs and ate the hogs' food. I don't know if you can imagine what that must have been like for him going through his mind. And an interesting and profound part of the message that was revealed to Pastor Monty through God was that the devil isn't just after your mind. We always say the devil wants my mind. And while that is very much true, he took it a step deeper, a step further. The devil more than wants your mind, he wants your identity. And so I thought about that and how it relates to breaking bondage. If you don't know who you are, you will forever be bound. And you will forever fall victim to Satan's devices. Much like that son who ran off and found himself in a hog pen called life, eating the hog's food. The story goes on to say that one day he came to himself. And when he came to himself, which means he was not even in his right frame of mind, he was not even himself. And sometimes whatever that trauma you're experiencing now, or whatever trauma you've experienced in the past, whatever situation that you can't get past, that's now consumed you, that you are so angry about, that you are bitter about, that you are hurt over, that you just desire revenge from, whatever that trauma, whatever that experience that has taken you and ensnared and twisted and consumed you to where you are bound by this thing. And you're in a hog pen and you're walking around breathing every day. And so when in the story, when he came to himself and remembered, that is the first thing he did, because that is the enemy's device. He comes after your identity, and then he tries to take your mind by making you be beside yourself. This rich, wealthy son who had everything that belonged to his father found himself in a horrible situation. And sometimes we can allow trauma to make us act and behave in ways that are beside ourselves. Sometimes that trauma could be so devastating that we do things that we would not normally do in our right frame of mind. We find ourselves in places that we wouldn't normally frequent. We find ourselves saying things that wouldn't normally be in our vocabulary. And that's what it looks like when you're in a form of bondage. Okay? Today, I want you to know that you can be free. You can be free from that bondage. You can be free. All you have to do is remember who you are and whose you are. All you have to do is follow the steps that were outlined in the last video for you, and then contact me. You can find me on Facebook. You can reach me through Messenger. You can email me. Absolutely reach out to me. I want to help you to know this freedom that I experience every day. That prodigal son in that story, that son who came to himself and then remembered, he got up from that hog pen and he found his way back. You have to make your way. You have to press your way, and it can be a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. You didn't get lost overnight. But the beauty is you can be found. And just like he did in the story and made his way back home and was welcomed by his father, you too can make your way back home and be welcomed by your heavenly Father. You no longer have to live in bondage. You don't have to be constrained. You don't have to be wrestling every day, fighting to breathe. I know what it's like to get up and not want to breathe anymore. I understand what it's like to see people who are happy and you get mad because they're happy. I understand the pain that you feel when you feel isolated and all alone and that nobody understands. And I know what it feels like to be free. So I want you to take some time. Just think about it. And then after you finish thinking about it, don't just stay in that state. I don't want you to just keep thinking on it, because if you're listening, I want you to reach out to me. I want to help you. I want you to know what this is like. I want you to come to know Christ who freed me. And I'm going to teach you the same. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.